We are day 170, Blue Letter Bible app, Bible in a Year. I'm going to re-top my coffee off. We got the Ecclesiastes, okay, 1 through 6. All right, so there we go. Ecclesiastes 1 through 6. The words of the preacher, son of David, king in Jerusalem, vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit has a man of all his labor, which he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. The earth abideth forever. His mercy abideth forever. The sun also arises, and the sun goes down, and hasteneth to his own place where he arose. The wind goes towards the south, and is turned about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again to his circuits. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place where hence the rivers come, hither they return again. Everything comes full circle. Everything comes full circle. All the things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. The thing that hath been, that is, which shall be. It all comes full circle. And that which is done is which shall be done. There is no new thing under the sun. There is no new thing under the sun. When we read about the sins of Jeroboam, and we're doing the exact same thing today. Paul warns us in Romans 11, calls it unbelief. It's unbelief. If you learn the ways of the heathen and worship God in those ways of the heathen, it's called unbelief, folks. Is there anything thereof that may be said? See, this is new. It's not new at all. It hath already been of old time, which was before us. Verse 11. This is Ecclesiastes 1, verse 11. There is no remembrance of the former things. They don't remember what happened before, because they don't read the Old Testament. Neither shall there be any remembrance of all things that are to come with those that shall come after. People do not understand. They do not understand prophecy. The preacher was a king over Israel in Jerusalem, and I gave my heart to search out the wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. It is sore travail. Hath God given the sons of man to be exercised wherewith? The preacher was a king over Salem. That's the order of Melchizedek, folks. I believe is what we're talking about here. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, it is vanity and vexation of the spirit. When you understand things in this book, it's sweet to the mouth because you go, oh, wow, that's how we reconcile that? And then it's bitter to the belly because you go, holy smokes, how much error is being taught. I have seen the works that are done under the sun, and behold, it is all vanity and vexation of spirit. It was true then, it's true now. We can just keep saying that there is no new thing under the sun. Just keep saying that after each one of these verses. There's no new thing under the sun. That which is crooked cannot be made straight. That which is wanting cannot be numbered. I'll go back to learning the ways of the heathen. Worshiping him in those ways of the heathen. That which is crooked cannot be made straight. If something is an abomination, it cannot be made holy. I consumed with my own heart, saying, Lo, I am come to a great estate, and have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart had a great experience, and wisdom and knowledge. And I gave my heart to know the wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this is also vexation of spirit. For inasmuch wisdom is much grief, and he that increases knowledge increases sorrow. You see what's on the horizon, and you see that the people do not hear it. They do not hearken. Jeremiah 6, I think it's verse 16, 17, in that area. They will not hearken. You blow the trumpet and they will not hearken. And so then you're in sorrow. I said in my heart, go to now. I will prove with thy mirth before thee thy pleasure. Behold, it is also vanity. It's all vanity. I said of laughter, it is mad, and mirth, and what doeth it? I sought in my heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting my heart with the wisdom, I lay a hold on folly. Till I see what was good for the Son of Men, which they should do under the heaven in all the days of their life. Good morning, good morning. How's it going, guys? Oh, let me plug in my... the glass shall stand forever. Amen, amen. Yes, the grass withereth and the flower fadeth. I have made me great works. I have builded me houses. I have planted me vineyards. I have made me gardens and orchards and planted trees in all of them and all kinds of fruit. I have made pools of water to wherewith the wood that bringeth the forth trees. I got me servants and maidens and servants born in the house, and I have also great possessions, and great and small cattle above all were in Jerusalem before me. I gathered me also silver and gold and peculiar treasure of kings and the provinces. I gat on me the men and singers and the delights of the Son of Man as musical instruments and all sorts. I was so great it increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. And whatsoever my eyes desired, I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart in joy, for my heart rejoiced in all of my labor, and this was the portion of all my labor. Then I looked on all the works of my hands wrought, and the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, it was all vanity. Behold, it was all vanity. All those treasures of the kingdom. And vexation of spirit. It was vanity and vexation of the spirit. And there was no profit under the sun. Oh, praise God. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can man do that cometh after the king, even which hath been already done? And I saw the wisdom exceedeth the folly. As far as the light exhaleth the darkness, and I saw the wisdom excelleth folly, as far as light excelleth darkness. And the wise man's eyes are in his head, but a fool's walketh in darkness. Those who hateth their brother live in darkness. Football Go, what's going on? Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Football Go. If you guys are still with us, we've got the wise man's eyes are in his head, but a fool walketh in darkness. Anybody who hates his brother is in darkness. That's what it says in the book of 1 John. Okay, now, you hateth your brother if you do not rebuke his sin and let his sin suffer upon him. Okay, so if you're not your brother's keeper, you're in darkness. Okay, so what do we have to have? We have to have some knowledge of God. We have to take the log out of our eyes so that we can see to judge righteously. Everything else is freaking vanity. Then I said in my heart, as it happened to the fool, so it happened to me. It happened to the fool and it happened to me. Why was I more wise? Why in my heart is it also vanity? The light's up. It's light outside now. Okay? I need to run out there and feed my animals. And I need to run out and do all this stuff and fix my fences and build my fences. And oh, I've got all this work to do. The most important work I'm doing of the day is right now. Right now. Maybe somebody will hearken and they'll go, wow, I need to search that out. All the rest is vanity. There is no remembrance of the wise, more of a fool than forever. See, you know how many times I've put off this right here and run out there? To my shame. To my shame. You guys are more important than all that shit. There's no remembrance more wise than a fool. Gosh, have I been foolish I spent, I'll say 45, maybe 50 years. Yeah, probably. Well, I'll take out the childhood. I'll just say 40 years of my life not understanding anything in this book, reading it and not hearkening, not hearing nothing. Why? Because I had vanity in my heart. I had idols, idolatry. If you have idolatry, you ain't going to hear nothing in this book. You'll get to a certain point and then it's just all going to be surface. Surface. That's it. How dieth the wise man as a fool? Therefore I have hated life, because the work is wrought. Under me the sun is grievous unto me, and all is vanity and vexation of spirit. Yea, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that it should be after me. Inheritance for our children. The inheritance for our children is that we walk in the light. We bring them into the light. Deuteronomy 5 says, you love your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, if you're following his commandments, and you teach your children diligently these commandments, and they become a mark on your head and between the front lid of your eyes. How many people are out there worried about the mark of the beast? They don't even have the mark of God. They don't even have the mark. Therefore I went about to cause my heart to spare all the labor which I took under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom and in knowledge and in equity. Yet to the man hath not labored therein shall he leave, for his portion is also vanity and great evil. Well, what do they do when you leave them this inheritance? It usually takes them straight to hell. If you do not. Deuteronomy 6:5, 6:6, 6:7. For what hath a man of all his labor, of the vexation of his heart, wherein he hath labored under the sun? For all his days are sorrow, and his travail great. Yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also vanity. There is nothing better for a man than he should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy the good in his labor. That also I saw that this was the hand of God. Eating and drinking in that labor is when we bring the word and the Spirit of God to somebody else and they hear it. For who can eat and who else hasten unto thou more than I? For God hath given to a man that is good in his own sight and wisdom and knowledge. For a man in his good sight, wisdom and knowledge and joy. But to the sinner he giveth travail, and a gatherer to heap up, that he may give unto him that is good before God. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. The riches of this world can take you right off the path, folks. To everything there is a season, and every time there is a purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up which that is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh, and a time to mourn and a time to dance. Time to mourn, a time to mourn, a time to mourn. Oh, Matthew 5. Matthew 5. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. There's a time to mourn, and blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be time to comfort. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are the people that are in total subjection to God, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are which do hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Hunger and thirst for righteousness. That's the Beatitudes, folks. That's written to the God's servants. Back to Deuteronomy 6, verse 625. That's his righteousness, folks, not our own righteousness. His righteousness. Our own righteousness is this vanity that he's talking about. A time to get, time to lose, a time to keep, a time to cast away, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, a time of peace. What profit hath he that work therein laboreth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in this time. He hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out of the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. He let them see some of that goodness. He gave them a time of peace during Solomon. And what happened right after? The breakup of the kingdom. I know there is no good in them, but for a man rejoice and do good in his life. Also that every man should eat, drink, and enjoy all the good of his labor. In it is the gift of God. I know that soever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put for it, nor anything taken from it, and God doeth it, that men should fear before him. James 1:7. That which hath been is now, and that which hath already been, God requireth now which is past. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and that the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. And I saw in my heart that God shall judge the righteous and the wicked. For there is a time for every purpose, for every work. You know, when we're called, we are called to blow that trumpet and warn the wicked and warn the righteous. And it says, if the righteous man falls and does unrighteously, all his righteousness before will be forgotten. All will be forgotten. And if we don't warn even that righteous guy, if we don't warn that righteous guy, we're in trouble. The blood is on our hands. I said in my heart, so what? Because what do you do when you're warning the folks? Oh, everybody's righteous. Jeremiah says, Jeremiah is warning the people, and what do the people say? We're delivered to do these abominations. We're delivered to do these abominations. That's Jeremiah 7. He's warning them. And I said in my heart concerning the state of the sons of men that God, and I'm in Ecclesiastes 3, verse 18. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 18. And I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and they might see that they themselves are beasts. Yep. For which befalleth the sons that befalleth the beast, every one that befalleth them, and one dieth, so that dieth another. And they have all done one breath, so that a man hath no preeminence above beast, for all is vanity. Everything out there is vanity. All go into one place, all are the dust, and turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of beast that goeth downward to the earth? Therefore I perceive that there is nothing better, that a man should rejoice in his own works, and that his portion, for who all should bring him, that see what shall be after him. So you got to differentiate our righteousness of his righteousness. His righteousness. Deuteronomy 6, verse 25. Not our righteousness. Yeah, Jesus probably can. And it's all vanity, brother. All that is vanity. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such that were oppressed. You know how much time I used to spend building my trading list for the next day? Tons of time wasted. It's all vanity. They had no comforter on the side of their oppressors, and there was powers, and they had no comforter. No comforter. What's that comforter? What's the second comforter, guys? What's the second comforter? It's given. It's given to those who obey his commandments. That's John 14, verse 15, 16, and 17. No comforter was given. Therefore I praise the dead which are already dead more than the living which are alive. Yea, better is he both that had not yet been than who had not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. So if people don't recognize what sin is, if people do not recognize what sin is, they can't repent from it. Okay? Do you know what sin is? That's 1 John 3, verse 4. Sin is transgression of the law. The law they're talking about is the 10 Commandments. Deuteronomy 5:22, and there was added no more. Okay? You have to know the difference between the book of the law, which was written after transgression, and the commandments, which are his mercy that endureth forever. Again, I considered all travail, and that every right work for man is envied of his neighbor, also is vanity and vexation of the spirit. Talking about covetousness right there. We're talking about covetousness. Deuce Dale, there is only but one God. One God. Okay? The fool foldeth his hands together and eateth his own flesh. Better is a handful with quietness than both hands that with travail and vexation of spirit. Then I returned and I saw vanity under the sun. There is one alone. There is one alone. And there is not a second. There is one alone and not a second. Okay, this is where I pull out a highlighter. And I pull out my pen. And I go, that is 4, 6. And I highlight it in my notebook. There is one alone. There is not a second. Yea, hath neither child nor brother, yet there is no end of his labor. Neither is the eye satisfied with riches. Neither saith he, for whom I labor and bereave my soul of good. This is also vanity, yea, a sore travail. So all we think about is ourselves, man. There is one. That's all you think about. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. So share the word, man. Share the word. And not all that bull jive that Deuce is talking about. He has no... Deuce, do you follow the commandments? I would say probably not, since he has other gods before him. For if they fall, the one that lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone, where he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. We are our brother's keeper, folks. We've got to keep each other on the narrow path. That goes all the way back to Cain and Abel. Cain killed his brother Abel when his brother was trying to keep him on the right path. And what does it say? It says Satan is at your door if you're not doing well. Doing well is following God's commandments and helping others to follow God's commandments. That's doing well. That's the royal law, folks. The royal law. 2 James, verse 8 and 9. Probably 7, 8, and 9. Again, the two lie together if they have heat. But now, how? One can be warm alone. And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. And three is a cord not quickly broken. Better is poor and a wise child. Yeah, that's not my God, you freaking fool. Okay, so now, okay, I guess you asked a question. No, that is not God. That is another fool. Another fool. You know, the sad part is that Christians are such poor witnesses to God. Absolutely horrible witnesses to God. Because they espouse this Trinity bull jive. They do not have one God before them. Okay? That breaks the first commandment right there. Okay? And God will give them a strong delusion that they should believe a lie. That's 2 Thessalonians 11 and 12. Okay? They don't read their own Bibles. They don't know anything about their Bibles, really, except for just the surface. Trump is put in place by God to punish a freaking wicked people. The whole earth is going to be punished. He uses government, war. He uses government to bring on war, pestilence, and famine. Buckle up. In red letters in the Bible, in Matthew 24 or Mark 13, it says, learn the parable of the fig tree. No Christians go out and learn the parable of the fig tree. In Matthew 9, it says, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Go find out what it meaneth. Nobody. If I go into a church today and ask them, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, what does that mean? None of them will be able to give me a coherent answer. None. They're a horrible witness. They'll all be judged. I'm out there blowing the trumpet, telling them, hey, read your Bible. They all profane the Sabbath, and they listen to motivational speakers every Sunday that tell them how to be good in this world with their own righteousness. Don't smoke a cigarette. Don't drink a beer. Neither of which are profitable, but it's not a sin. Yet they profane the Sabbath day while doing that, making up their own righteousness. Go into Romans 1 and find out what happens when you promote your own righteousness. And then you succumb to idolatry. They're all idolaters. They can't witness to a Jew because they're idolaters. They can't witness to a Muslim because they're idolaters. And everything they do is vanity. The Jew and the Muslim can see that. A righteous man can see that, but they don't do his righteousness. Man, it's so sad. It's so sad. And it's why it's a vexation of spirit that we're talking about right here. So you should probably just listen. For out of the prisons comes to reign, whereath he was born, and his kingdom becometh poor. Out of the prison he cometh to reign, whereas also he that is born in his kingdom becometh poor. What is poor? Poor in spirit. Poor in spirit, you'll be humble and hear God's word. The rich do not hear it. They're all rich. They do not hear it. They will not hearken. There is no end of all people, even all that have been before them. They also come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this is also vanity and vexation of spirit. There is no end of all the people, even of them that have been before them. They also come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this is also vanity and vexation of spirit. Verse 5, chapter 5, keep thy foot, thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. If you scroll back through the comments, you'll see the sacrifice of fools. Okay, the sacrifice of righteousness that we give forth today is the communication of his righteousness. That's Hebrews 12. The daily sacrifice. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Is bringing forth his righteousness, not our own. Just those 10 commandments. Deuteronomy 5:22, and no more were added. For they consider not that they do evil. They consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thy heart be hasty to utter anything before God. For God is in heaven, and thou upon the earth. Therefore, let thy words be few. Look at this. Look at, I mean, well, gee, you can just page through this stuff and page through vanity, and they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash. Let thy words be few. For a dream cometh through the multitude. This is chapter 5, verse 3. For a dream cometh through the multitude of business, and a fool's voice is known by the multitude of words. When thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he hath no pleasure in fools in paying what he has vowed. So if you are a believer, you are supposed to be following the covenant, the vow, the covenant, the holy covenant. Okay? The prophesied that he was sending his son to remind us of the holy covenant. That is Luke 1, 72 and 73. To remind us of the holy covenant. Go to Daniel 11, verse 30. And the Antichrist comes and has intelligence with those that forsake the holy covenant. That same holy covenant has intelligence with those that forsake the holy covenant. The whole freaking church is told not that the holy covenant is thrown away. They don't even know what the holy covenant is. Holy smokes, it was put in the mercy seat, under the mercy seat, in the Ark of the Covenant, those 10 commands. The renewing of the promise to Abraham. You want that inheritance? That's the vows. Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin, neither say before the angel that it was error. Therefore should go be God angry at thy voice and destroy the works of thy hands? He's going to burn it all. Wow. Loving God with all your heart, all your mind and soul is that you teach your children the 10 commandments. 1 John 5, verse 3. The love of God is that we obey his commandments, and his commandments aren't grievous. That's 10 commandments, folks. Barred clay, People like that won't hear it. I'm speaking to actual believers. I'm trying to speak to actual believers. They think they're believers, but they don't believe because they don't read the word enough to know what it means. For in the multitude of dreams, many words there are, also diverse vanities, but fear God. If thou seest oppression of the poor and the violent and the pervert judgment and justice in the province, marvel not at the matter, for he, barred clay, is higher than the high earth regardest. Therefore be higher than they, because they could be their own God. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. And that then the sad part is that barred clay gets there because of the self-righteousness of these people in these churches that do their own righteousness. I mean, barred clay, the truth is, barred clay probably seen through that self-righteousness. And it turns him off. Turns him off to really hearing God. It's so sad. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance of increase. This is also vanity. What do most of these churches preach? I'd say 70% of churches preach this prosperity gospel so they can get more money out of your pocket. Peter says they will make merchandise out of you. Yeah, that's what Peter says. When goods increase, they are increased, that them that eat them. What good is there to be the owners thereof, saving them, beholding them with their eyes? The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep. There is sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely, riches kept for the owners thereof to their hurt. That's it right there, guys. All this stuff is vanity, and it is kept to their hurt. All the adversary has to do is reward you a little bit. Oh, I prayed for a car payment and it came. So the adversary bought you for a car payment. The rich is perished by evil, the treath. He begotteneth his son. There is nothing in his hand. As he came forth of the mother's womb, naked shall he return, and go as he came, shall take nothing of his labor which carry away his hand. And also is a sore evil, that in all points he came, so shall he go. What profit hath he that labored for wind? It all blows away in the wind. All his days he eateth in darkness. All his days he eateth in darkness. I see the scoffers and the mockers in the comments. All in darkness. He hath much sorrow and wrath sickness. Behold that which I have seen. It is good and comely for one to eat and to drink and to enjoy the goods of his labor. He that taketh under the sun all the days of his life, which God giveth him for his portion. Every man also to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and hath given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and rejoice in his labor, this is the gift of God. For he shall not remember the days of his life, because God answered in the joy of his heart. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is a common among men. All right, that sounds like we better be listening right here. It is common among men. A man whom God hath given riches and wealth and honor, so he wanted nothing for his soul, and all he had desireth. Yet God giveth him not power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. It is vanity, and it is evil disease. If you're not storing up things for the next kingdom, okay? That's sharing his word, storing up things for the next kingdom, okay? These prosperity preachers are going to take this, and they're going to tell you it's about tithing. You send your money to us. Give us that tithe. Oh, the old Testament is done away with, except for that part in Malachi about tithing. The riches of his kingdom are his word. If a man beget 100 children, yet may live many years, so that the days of his years be many, his soul not filled with good, also have no burial, and say that untimely birth is better than he. Okay, this is 6 verse 3. Now go back and look at the fifth commandment, to obey thy father and thy mother. Honor thy father and thy mother. Okay? What's the full circle that we're talking about and that we talked about in verse 1 in chapter 1? The full circle. Honor thy father and thy mother. Deuteronomy 6, verse 5. I love the Lord, love God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul. Teacheth your children the commandments diligently, so that they keep them. And then you honor your parents by following those commandments. That is how you reach eternal life and live a long life. For he that cometh in with vanity and depart in darkness, and his name shall be covered with darkness. Darkness. Those that hateth their brother are in darkness. That's 1 John. Leviticus 19, verse 17. Leviticus 19. You hateth your brother if you do not rebuke his sin. You hateth your brother if you do not rebuke his sin, and let his sin suffer upon him. The next verse is, hold no grudge against your brother. Love your brother as you love yourself. You're in darkness if you're not keeping your brother on the straight and narrow path, folks. Moreover, he hath not seen the sun or known anything, and he hath more rest than the other. Yea, though he live 1,000 years, twice told he hath seen no good. Do not all go to one place? Yet, though he live 1,000 years, twice told he hath seen no good. Do not all go to one place? All the labor of a man is of his mouth, yet the appetite is not filled. For what hath the wise more than a fool? What hath the poor that knoweth to walk before thee living? Stay in that narrow path. Straight is the gate, narrow is the way, few be that find it. Better is the sight of eyes than a wandering desire, also vanity and vexation of spirit. Do not get caught up in this covetousness of the things of this world. That which hath been named already is known, that is man. Neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. Seeing there be many things that increase vanity, what is man the better? Seeing there be many things that increase vanity, what is man the better? For who knoweth that is good for man this life, all the days of vain life which he spendeth as a shadow? For who can tell a man that shall be after him under the sun? Nothing's changed under the sun. It's all the same. It all comes back, forward and back. A good name is better than a precious ointment, and the day of death better than one's birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to the house of feasting. It is better to go to the house of mourning to the house of feasting, for it is at the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Hear that Torah movement. This is a time of mourning, lamentation, and woe. We've all been kicked out of the land, folks. We've all been kicked out of the land because of wickedness. And here we are a-feasting. Do not do these feasts outside of where Jehovah puts his name. Okay, that's Jerusalem, folks. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than of man for to hear the songs of fools. For as the crackling thorns under a pot also is the laughter of a fool. This is also vanity. Just go back through the comments. Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Pride, folks. Pride. What is it? The crackling of thorns under a pot. So is the laughter of a fool. This is also vanity. Surely the oppression of a wise man and the gift destroyeth the heart. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Say not thou the wise, because the former days were better than these. For thou doest not inquire wisely concerning this. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, and by there is profit to them that see the sun. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense, but the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. What's the beginning of wisdom, folks? The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Consider the work of God, who can make that straight, which hath he made crooked. Consider the work of God, for who can make that straight, which he hath made crooked? We're all forgiven. Get back on the straight and narrow path. In the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider God also hath set one over against the other, to the end that a man should find nothing after him. All this stuff goes back to dust. Everything out there is vanity. I'm in Ecclesiastes 7 verse 15 here, but know that there was Ecclesiastes 6 all the way up to this. All things I have seen in the days of my vanity, there is just man that perish in his righteousness, and there is wicked man that prolongeth his life in his wickedness. Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise, because it's really simple. Obey his commandments, choose life. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Be not over much wicked. Be not over much wicked, neither shall the foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time? It is good that thou should take us a hold of this. Yea, also from this withdraw not thy hand, for he that feareth God shall come forth of them all. He that feareth God shall come forth of them all. Wisdom is strengthened by the wise more than 10 mighty men, which are in the city. There is not a just man upon the earth that doeth good and sinneth not. That's why we need a Savior. Also, take no heed unto all the words that are spoken, lest thou hear thy servant curse thee. For oftentimes there is also thy own heart knoweth that thou self likewise hast cursed others. Man, oh man. All this I have proved by wisdom, I said, and I will be wise. But it was far from me. That which is afar off and exceedingly deep, who can find it out? You got to pray for that, folks. You got to pray for the spirit of truth. John, go from John 14 verse 12 on all the way to 22. Those that love him keep his commandments, and they are given the second comforter. Man, you've got an ability to find stuff out. I have applied my own heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reasons of things, and to know the wickedness of folly and the foolishness and the madness. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands is band. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her. Who pleases God shall escape from her. What is pleasing God? It's obeying his commandments. But the sinner shall be taken by her. It's a snare. You're taken back ensnared. Taken back ensnared. Isaiah 28, verse 12 and 13. Behold, it's the 12 and 13 is the refreshing of that holy covenant that they will not hear. Those that don't hear it are taken aback and snared. Behold, I have found this, I saith before the preacher, continuing, one by one to find out the account, which yet my soul seeketh, I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those I have not found. Lo, this I only have found, that God hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. Man, oh man. They've sought out many inventions. All right, guys, that was Ecclesiastes. It was supposed to be 1 through 6, but I went through and I read 7. Okay, so that was Ecclesiastes 1 through 7. That is day 170 in the Blue Letter Bible app, where through these words we find the heart of God. We find the heart of God. That he spoke not to our fathers of the blood of bulls and goats until they transgressed his covenant. That's Jeremiah 7:20. 20-ish. All he wanted them to ever do was obey his 10 commandments and do what was pleasing before him. Okay. Also, the rainbow covenant would be a covenant of promise that we eat what's clean, because they brought 7 of those on the ark and 2 of the unclean. Distinguish between clean and unclean, holy and common, and obey his 10 commandments. That's pretty much it, folks. It's pretty simple. Yet people will not hearken. Praise Yah. I love you guys.